Testing, testing. Okay, there we go. Now I've got green bars. For some reason, OBS had switched back to default microphone, whichever one it is not this microphone, I guess. Anyway, yes, ducks. As I was saying, hello, welcome. It is Sunday. We are back to sewing. I have not completely finished my Stardew Archipelago, but I am down to the very last grindy bit, which is not entirely entertaining. So I will not. We're back to sewing. Yes, ducks. We are actually quite close to all of the ducks. With all of the DLCs, which I do have, there's a total of like 161 ducks or something. And you're currently at this save file is at like 150 something. However, once we hit all of the ducks, that just means there's one of every duck. And then we start getting duplicates. So there will still be yet more ducks even after we have all of the ducks. But yes, so we have hexagon. Hopefully everybody's had a pretty. Will be a D&D recap today. Sure did have a session yesterday. Last week, Sarah and I went downtown. Our preferred LGS did indeed sign up for the Final Fantasy. So that's exciting. That will be on a Saturday. I will not be missing the stream for it, and you'll probably get an exciting recap afterwards. It'll be an interesting time. This will be both me and Kara's first pre-release. And also Kara barely plays Magic? Question mark? So it'll be interesting. But it'll be fun. What matters. Have a good time? I mean, I think both are probably possible. Toast. Toast is good. I approve of toast. For dinner. Listen. Also, that's a mood, Kitsune. Last night, Kara and I kind of looked at each other, looked at the weather outside, looked at each other again, and I was like, why don't we just order something? And so we did. But it means now we have leftover pizza to eat. Sunday. Hey, Varys is resubscribed for the 20. Good morning, Varys. Thank you. Ah, yes. Kara, for your Koopa. Within a 5-meter radius only. Body better be nicer to her today. She is. Kupo serving coffee and hugging it. Both Moogles are Kara. It's true. Let's Moogles. Kara, I think you're the resident. Ogling? Googling. I mean, it probably is. We established last week I don't really know how to configure. Oh. Um. that. Oops. That doesn't seem to have helped much either. Okay, testing, testing. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. This is the problem. I know what a noise gate is. I don't know what an open threshold or a closed threshold is, and I don't know how to configure one. Ah! Hopefully that's a little bit better. I adjusted it so that the negative decibel numbers are higher on both the open and the close, which I think means that it will catch quieter sounds. So hopefully that helps. Gate is normally closed, doesn't let sound through. The open threshold is the level it must reach to open and let sound through. Once it is open, once the level of sound gets to the closed threshold, that's the level it must reach to close and stop. Okay, so I want it to basically bracket whatever decibel levels my voice is routinely reaching. Not quite. Tara, I believe that's having no gate at all. Oh. Interesting. Okay, I see. Well, I adjusted them both to be I guess technically smaller because it's negative oh, hate math. I adjusted it from negative 41 or negative 31 negative 41 to like negative 35 negative 50, so hopefully that works a little bit better. If not, I can continue to fiddle with it. The problem, I think, is when I was configuring it, I was sitting at my desk, so the microphone was a lot closer. But when I'm sitting over here in my sewing chair, the microphone is about 3 feet from me. Because that's the nearest flat surface I can set it on. Well, glad we got that fixed in time for the D&D recap, which will be starting in roughly 13 minutes. So if anyone needs to get up, grab refills on their drinks, use the bathroom, now is probably the time to do it. If I do need to adjust my noise gate further, please let me know and I will attempt that. I need to make a couple more hits. Where's my flat surface? Come here. Oh, I believe that it'll pick you up from across the room. But I also believe it'll do so at such poor quality that it'll be useless. Coffee and art, both excellent things. Should indeed achieve both of them. Thank you, Kara. I was getting there. morning, Kuma. You are here in time for the start of the D&D recap. It'll be happening in just a couple minutes. Morning. Alright, so last time on D&D, we had arrived at the Wayside Inn on our way toward the Tower of Storms and found Basil, and also managed to stumble into some cult activity. Specifically, it looks like the Dragon Cult and the Cult of Talos are beginning to blur, at least this particular sect, which is a problem. Not super happy about that. So we fought a giant we fought some cultists, and then we fought a giant statue in the basement that the cultists were, animating. Not entirely sure what they were doing. Potentially creating an avatar of Talos. In any case, it was a problem, so we fought it, and we managed to destroy the statue and kill off the last remaining cultist. And that is where we picked up this session, right at the end of that combat. So, as we all kind of caught our breath, thread is very short. 1 second. When the thread is too short to reach my magnet, my only choice is to stick the needle in my mouth. So as we all kind of caught our breath, Bram walked over to where the owner of the inn was tied up in the corner in very rough shape. He casted Cure Wounds on her. You're only barely late, Kite. We just started. So Bram cast a Cure Wounds on the inn owner. However, she didn't wake up. Because, spoiler alert, she has like 5 levels of exhaustion. Like, her HP does not matter at this point. She is just out. So, Bram tried to untie her. And we all know how wonderful Bram the Centaur is at Dex. So, in attempting to untie her, he made the knots worse. So he kind of went, okay, screw it. My bigger concern is, like, getting her out of the basement. So he just kind of picked her up, ropes and all, to carry her upstairs. Randus was very kind and did not make me determine how Bram got out of the basement that he jumped into. There was probably a spider climb involved. Something. He got out. He got out of the basement somehow while carrying the tavern owner. Meanwhile, again, only barely late. Meanwhile, Glint was like, oh, Basil, I found Watkins. I think I know where Watkins is. And went running over to the pile of chicken corpses in the corner and started just like, like chicken corpses flying over Glint's head as she like digs through them. But she does manage to recover Watkins, who is, like, all 4 of his little limbs are tied together, and like his like mouth is tied closed, and his wings are like strapped down to his body. He's just kind of like a wiggling, angry dragon burrito. So, of course, Basil was like, oh my god, my poor baby. And at that point, everybody kind of adjourned back upstairs. Phalar did sort of search the cultist's body. The one cultist that was downstairs, but there wasn't really anything of interest on her. Other than another of the porcelain dragon cult masks. So we all adjourned back upstairs. Bram and Basil, between them, again sort of tried to untie Morticia, and again were unable to, so they gave up and started cutting through the ropes, which took a couple tries. And turns out the rope might have been a magic rope. It's fine. They only destroyed it, kind of. But yes, they managed to get her free. And Bram took her upstairs to tuck her into a bed. Look, Bram is frustrated at knots, okay? Bram is not good at Dex. Bram is good at cut and stab. Therefore, he decided to cut and stab. So we took her upstairs and got her settled into a bed. Basil cast alarm across the door and the window, just in case. Phalar is mildly suspicious that she either knew what was going on or, like, might have been complicit. Bram is a trusting soul and doesn't think so. But so we got her settled into bed. Meanwhile, Phalar was casting Identify on the cultist masks that we found. Because we knew they were magical, but we didn't know exactly what they did. Turns out, when you are wearing one of these masks, you can spend a reaction to gain a resistance to lightning for, like, as your reaction. So if you're getting hit with a lightning bolt, you can use this mask to become resistant to the lightning bolt, but it only works once. Once you use that property, it stops being magical and just becomes a regular porcelain mask. So we have 4 of them currently, and all 4 of them do the same thing. They're all the same. None of the charges have been expended. So we gave 2 to Glint because we figured she's very squishy. She could she could have multiple lightning resistances. That would be good. One to Bram, and I want to say, did T. Garn take the last one? I don't remember where the last one ended up. It was determined, or at least Randus had the suspicion that Lash would not take one, like would have felt dirty wearing one. Bram is not thrilled about it, but Bram's understanding of... Well, yes, and that's also the thing, is that Lash and Phalar both have other things that would grant them that resistance anyway, so it's not really worth it to give them one of the masks. Better to give the masks to the squishy people. Bram is not super thrilled about these Dragon Cult Talos masks. However, Bram's understanding of sort of Bahamut's Bram's understanding is that Bahamut is pragmatic, and Bahamut wants his paladins and his servants in general to stay alive in order to be able to help people. So Bram's understanding is that Bahamut would be cool with him using this Dragon Cult mask to stay alive so that he can continue to help people. Which is why Bram is, in fact, going ahead with wearing it. And he did make sure first, talking with Phalar, that there weren't any other, like, they're not cursed. There isn't any sort of, like, when you put this on, it will compel you to follow Talos kind of things. It's just the lightning resistance. So Bram is not super thrilled with it, but he is okay with it. Because lightning resistance feels like it's going to be very useful in the coming day or two. So once we have all of the masks identified, we take a long rest there at the inn. We're all able to remove our point of exhaustion, get healed up, everything is wonderful. In the morning, Bram goes to check on Morticia, and she is still not woken up. Because again, she had like 5 levels of exhaustion. So the party is kind of like, okay, we kind of have 2 choices. We can either wait here for however long it takes her to wake up to see if maybe we can get some more information out of her. Because again, the bartender was working here the last time we were here. So the bartender has been here for a while. So depending on when he got converted to the cult, Morticia may or may not have additional information about him or about what the cult was up to. We don't know. So we could wait for her to wake up and talk to her and see if she has additional information. Or we can just leave and head straight for the Tower of Storms, because we know that there were a couple additional cultists headed for the Tower of Storms. And Bram is kind of like, okay, look guys, we have been burned several times recently by taking our time and being too slow and arriving at places too late. I don't like the idea of whatever those other couple cultists are doing at the Tower of Storms. I think we should go straight there. And everybody else kind of concurs and agrees. So we leave a note for Morticia on her bedside table that basically says, hey, we've taken care of the cultists that were at the inn. Sorry about your bartender and your entertainment. Don't go into the basement. Don't touch the giant axe that's in the basement. Sorry about the corpses in the courtyard. We will come back. We will take care of the mess when we return. We're going to the Tower of Storms to take care of the rest of the cultists. We will be back. Signed. And since Bram was writing the note, it was signed something like Bram and those other adventurers we passed through a week or so ago. We're the ones that told you about the blue dragon. We're going to take care of the blue dragon now. Sorry. PPS, definitely don't go in the basement. And also, Bram and Lash together were able to move one of the large, like, trestle tables over, like, on top of the, on top of the trapdoor to the basement to sort of physically block it off as well. Wait, we did? Because Randus asked us if we had a party name. I didn't think we did. Randus was, like, despairing that we didn't have a party name yet. What was it, Kite? Because I have no memory of that. We signed a document back at, like, level 3? Did we? And I don't remember what we signed it as. Glint did just, like, smudge her paw through the ink and, like, put a paw print on the letter as well as sort of her own signature. Bram and his children. Oh god. Bram would hate that. Oh, Kits also remembers it. Oh. Oh yeah, we definitely have a group identity. I just didn't think we had a name. I have no memory of having, like, an actual name for the party. We definitely should come up with one, is what I'm getting, though. If only we made notes. That's asking. Lost to the VODs. I mean, maybe. But yeah, I have no memory of that. Hey! A Yauk has resubscribed for the 26th month. Hello, Yauk. Okay, so Morticia has no additional information, but if we had waited longer, the additional cultists would have shown up at the inn looking for the status on Operation Statue. That's kind of the other thing that I was thinking of. I was kind of figuring that would happen at some point. But anyway, we leave a note for her, and we head out for the Tower of Storms. So we make the journey with no difficulty, and as we arrive at sort of the beachfront, heading toward the Tower of Storms, Glint is immediately like, oh, does anyone see Crab Friend? And so we all kind of look around. Bram explains for the party members that were not here last time that, well, rather, Glint explains that Crab Friend was a very helpful crab, that was able to retrieve treasure from the bottom of the ocean for us once we helped out his friend, who was definitely absolutely not a ghost. Don't even talk about it. It's fine. But none of us see Crab Friend at all. However, we do make note that there seems to have been a large increase in the number of sharks swimming around in the local waters. It looks like Daggermaw and his shark cronies have expanded. So Glint's kind of like, oh, I hope Crab Friend was able to move on somewhere safe. And he probably did, now that we've helped his friend, who was definitely not a ghost, pass on to her rest. So Crab Friend is probably just moved off to somewhere else where he'll be safe from all the sharks. Because we see no evidence of Crab Friend around. As we're heading down the beach, we can see that there's a lot of footprints. There's, like, bipedal footprints. There's also, like, larger quadrupedal footprints. Not like centaur hoof prints, like, bigger. Probably from, we could infer from more of those, like, four-legged guard drakes, like what we saw at the inn. And also, on top of all of them, so like more recent, probably, a very small set of footprints, like almost like halfling size or child size, that are sticking close to the wall, kind of like they were trying to be stealthy. Like just kind of padding along down toward so there's a cave that sort of circles through and leads to the land bridge over to the Tower of Storms. Which, as a reminder, the Tower of Storms is in fact a lighthouse. So it's kind of out on this little, like, point of land that sticks out into the ocean. So we make our way down the beach and through the cave. From the distance, we don't really see any activity happening in or around the Tower of Storms. We don't see evidence of the blue dragon either, at least not from the ground and not from this distance. It seems, pardon me, it seems suspiciously quiet. But we make our way through the cave, and as we do, a couple of people that rolled higher on perception had kind of been keeping an eye on those small set of footprints because they seemed out of place. And about halfway through the cave, the small set of footprints vanishes, and a couple of the quadrupedal sets they sink further down into the sand, kind of like they had started carrying something. And as we walk out onto the land bridge, Bram is in the lead. Because this is a narrow-ish land bridge. We can only walk in single file, so it was determined that Bram should probably take the lead. And as they step out onto the land bridge, Bram can see that across the way, so there's the land bridge that goes across, and then there's that little alcove where the Banshee was before we put her to rest. And then the path continues on up toward the Tower of Storms. And Bram can see outside that little alcove. He can't actually see into the alcove, but right outside it is one of those blue guard drakes. Kind of loafed down, watching in, like, looking into the alcove as though it's keeping its eye on something. And Bram immediately stops. And the blue drake doesn't seem to have noticed him, because we're still a good, 50 feet away at this point. So Bram kind of says over his shoulder to the rest of the party, hey, there's another of those blue drakes. I don't think it's noticed us yet. Should I just, charge at it, or do we want to try to be stealthy about this and get closer and maybe, do a sneak attack or shoot at it or something to take it out in a quieter way than having a fully armored centaur charging at it? So Basil and Arendiao are both okay, cool, yes, we'll do a little bit of stealth. We'll try to get closer and see if we can, shank it before it causes a problem. So they both sort of wiggle their way around, step around Bram, and start forward across the land bridge. Bram and Phalar both ready ranged attacks in case the Drake notices them approaching. However, it doesn't. And Basil and Arendiao are able to get close enough to, sneak attack it. Basil pulls out his scimitars to stab at it or slash at it, and Arendiao throws a knife. And between the two of them, they're able to take out the blue drake just immediately. However, it turns out there's a second one just around the bend where Bram wasn't able to see it right off. But that's okay. Between the two of them, and Phalar coming up to offer some support, Uh, they're able to take out the second blue drake as well. And turns out, in that little alcove where the banshee had been previously, there's now a set of chains on the wall, and hanging from those chains is a dark-haired little gnome with a very fancy cloak. And as soon as, Basil pops in to stab one of the blue drakes, the gnome is like, "Hi!" And Basil is just kind of like, "WTF, hello?" So once we take care of the blue drakes, we're able to let this little gnome out of his chains. And it turns out this is our special guest character for a few sessions. This is Barris's character, Timjar. Barris will be joining us as a guest for a few sessions. We are delighted to have him. He is going to fit right in with this mad little party. Basil starts questioning Timjar, like, "What the hell are you doing here? Why are you trying to sneak in to the Tower of Storms all by yourself?" And Timjar's response is, "Oh, I'm in acquisitions, and dragons have lots of acquisitionables." And his plan had been to, stealth in, steal what he could from the dragon, stealth out, and not get eaten. So far, all he has seen are Basil and Arendiau, these two extremely scary, intimidating-looking drow. And Basil's kind of like, "Okay, WTF, no. How about you help us kill the dragon, and we'll give you some of the loot?" And Timjar's like, "How about no?" And Basil's like, "Okay, well, I can put you back in those chains, So Timjar somewhat reluctantly agrees to tag along with the party, and possibly help us defeat a dragon. Glint, at that point, pops around the corner, and seeing this little gnome is like, "It's okay, you can hang out at the back with me." And Timjar is kind of like, "Oh, thank God, somebody who's more friendly than this pair of drow." And immediately comes over to stick with Glint. Glint does the usual introductions of like, "This is everybody, and also this is Mint. He's our slime. Don't worry about him." And Timjar, it turns out, has a very fancy billowy cloak. And Phalar also has a very fancy billowy cloak, so they have a bit of a sorceress pose off. Both of them, striking dramatic poses as their capes billow out behind them. It's very entertaining. But eventually we move on. We continue to head across the rest of the land bridge to the little island bit where the Tower of Storms actually rests. And we still aren't seeing any dragon activity. We aren't getting shot at, which is a benefit. We do like that. As we approach the main entrance for the Tower of Storms, the door has been closed. So we kind of array ourselves around it, not in a single file line, because we know what lightning bolts are now. And Basil uses Mage Hand to sort of check the door for traps, and then check it. Is going to use it to pick the lock, but it turns out the door isn't even locked. So they just use Mage Hand to open the door, just in case anything's lurking on the other side. But there isn't. Everything seems quiet on the other side of the door. A reminder that the Tower of Storms, again, it's a lighthouse. So there's, the base of it, which has, other rooms off of it for, living quarters and stuff. And then the tower itself goes upward. So there's a couple other rooms to clear on the first floor. And then when we get up to the second floor, you can actually step out onto the roof area and sort of look around at that, too. And then the actual tower continues upward. So we, we open the door to sort of the main base of the tower, and all is quiet. So again, Arendiao and Basil decide that they're going to stealth forward to try to like scout things out before the less stealthy members of the party come in. Arendiao also casts I can't remember the name of the spell at the moment. The one that sort of turns Arendiao into a telepathic hub for up to 3 other people, so that they can speak back and forth psychically with her, and she can kind of relay messages back and forth. So she casts that with herself as the hub, and then on Basil, Phalar, and Bram, so that she can kind of ferry information around. Bram, Phalar, Glint, Lash, and Timjar are staying outside while the other 2 stealth in. So this way, if they find something, Arendiao can let Phalar and Bram know outside, like, okay, hey, this is what we found, or it's all clear, come in, without having to shout, which is extremely handy. So Basil and Arendiao head in, and as they do, Timjar also decides to head in, but he casts invisibility first. So he goes invisible and kind of follows behind them as they head inside. There are 2 sort of doors in this first little room that they go in. So Basil heads for the northern door and Arendiao heads for the southern door. However, as Arendiao opens the southern door, she immediately freezes, because inside that room is an altar. And it's a stone altar. We encountered it before the last time we were here. It's got like 2 rods coming out of it that meet at a point and then go up as a single rod all the way up into the ceiling. Kind of like a lightning rod, maybe. And kneeling in front of this altar are 2 cultists. Presumably the 2 cultists that Basil had seen heal off and head for the Tower of Storms. They're both kneeling, so they are both prone. So Arendiao kind of freezes in the doorway and immediately, psychically relays back to Phalar and Bram. Hey, found 2 cultists, noticed us. Because one of them didn't, but one of them did notice Arendiao open the door and kind of started to turn around and kind of go, hey. So then, of course, combat ensues. Oh, Basil did see 3 head to the tower? I thought it was only 2. Okay, that is good to know. For some reason, I was thinking it was 3 to the inn, 2 to the tower. But okay, it's good to know that that was the other way around. So we do still technically have 1 cultist unaccounted for at the tower. That is actually very good to know. So there are two in this room. So combat ensues. Okay, 5 total, 2 to the inn, 3 to the tower. Okay, perfect. Okay. So, alright, I'm just trying to figure out how I want to manage this combat. So Arendiao and Basil, of course, are the 2 that are closest, because they're the ones that are actually inside the tower. They are able to come in and take a couple attacks while the cultists are still on their knees, which counts as prone. So they're able to get a couple good whacks in. However, the cultists are able to stand up, of course, as the rest of the party starts coming in. Phalar and Lash both make it into the room, and are able to also start attempting to take whacks at the cultists. I believe Lash misses a couple of his first attacks, which is annoying. Especially when the cultist that is next to him manages to hit Lash with, what was it? Quite a few d6. I think it was 18 d6, something like that, because several of his attacks hit. Both of these cultists are also wearing the porcelain masks. An interesting effect happens. So Glint and Bram are both wearing their own masks, like the cultist masks that we had taken from the ones at the inn. And as they step into the Tower of Storms, both of them notice immediately that as they step inside, they come under the effect of the Bless spell. And they both know what it is, because Bram has that spell. I believe Glint also does, and even if she hasn't, she's been under the effect of it before. So yeah, while in the Tower of Storms, these masks are essentially blessed by Talos. Which, again, Bram is not thrilled about. But, you know, Bahamut would prefer that he stay alive, so Bram is going to use this resource to keep himself alive. Bram is able to get into the room eventually. He was very low on the initiative order again, and by the time he gets in, it's a bit crowded. The room with the altar is not super large. So Bram pulls out his spear for the first time, or his lance for the first time in a while, to sort of distance stab for a little bit of damage. Glint casts a couple sacred flames, one of which hits, one of which does not. And also pops in long enough to cast a Cure Wounds on Lash after he takes a whole big hit, to at least get him a little bit more HP back. As she pops out again, one of the cultists attempts to get an attack of opportunity on her and would have hit her, except Basil uses his silvery barbs to make that cultist re-roll. And it rerolls into a miss, which is fantastic, so Glint is able to get away scot-free. Timjar manages to stay invisible throughout the entire combat. He also does have a rat familiar who is able to scurry around sort of separately from him. And they, between Timjar and the rat familiar, they are able to cast several instances of help, which is great because it gives advantage on attacks from the rest of the party, essentially. And every little bit helps. Bram kind of has the thought, so we had sort of taken note over the course of the combat. Brandis had made mention that the cultists seemed like they were taking care not to actually touch the altar. So Bram kind of had a thought of, like, maybe I try to shove one of them into the altar. Except right before he was planning to try that, one of the cultists moved away from the altar and sort of cornered Basil in the corner. And Bram basically went, oh hell nah. And went to go attack that cultist so that it wasn't just a 1v1. And between the two of them, with some assistance from Phalar and Arendiao, they're able to take out that cultist. And then, so that just leaves the second cultist. And Arendiao, who is kind of lurking in the doorway and outside the room, throwing her psychic blades, is able to hit the other cultist and take them out. And so, as is his habit, Randus asks, well, you've killed him. How do you want to do this? And since I had mentioned, I wonder what happens if we push one of the cultists into the altar. Arendia is now terribly curious, and Svother is like, okay, well, when we hit the cultist for lethal damage, they kind of, we hit them with a psychic blade, so they kind of twitch and fall backwards onto the altar. And Randus is like, okay, cool. Do they hit the altar before or after they die? Like, are they still alive when they hit the altar and then they die? Or do they die first and then it's a dead body hitting the altar? And Svother makes the call of they're still alive and then they hit the altar and then die on the altar. And Randus is like, okay, cool. I need to roll 24d6. And the rest of us are kind of like, wait, what? Why? Oh no. I had the panicked thought that perhaps this altar was going to explode into lightning. Because Balar, Lash, Basil, and Bram were all in the room. And Timjar, actually, even though he was invisible. Glint and Arendia were the only ones outside the room. So I had a moment where I was just absolutely terrified that we were about to have a near TPK, and I was gonna have to play Glint, panicking over a bunch of dead bodies. Because I was controlling Glint yesterday. Kara had decided to sit out. And I was like, oh god, no, I do not want to have to play Glint in panic mode. Please no. So this cultist stumbles back and hits the altar right before they die. And as they hit the altar, Randus rolls his 24d6, and the cultist regains 80-something hit points, the equivalent of 3 lightning bolts. So, I'll take it. I'll take it over that being damage, for sure. So essentially what had happened is that when the cultist touched the altar, he gained a very direct divine blessing from Talos. And that took the form of being healed. It's essentially struck by 3 lightning bolts, but because this is a cultist of Talos, it translated into healing. Sort of. We'll get there. Yeah, it was so many d6s. So yes, he regained 80-something hit points and stood back up and continued fighting us. Over the next couple rounds of combat, I think this actually happened previously, but I forgot to mention it. Basil briefly went down. Oh, actually, no, this did happen here. So, when this cultist stood back up, he struck out at Basil, because Basil had been the one doing a bunch of damage to him. Both of the cultists were armed with, like, these, flail kind of thing. So it's a long stick with a chain and, like, a spiked iron cage on the end. And in the cage of these flails were like a little mote, like a jumping spark of lightning. So these flail things do lightning damage because they've got this like mote of lightning trapped inside them. And we had noticed when the first cultist died that the spark of lightning that was in their flail like dissipated. It like went out. So this second cultist, after he stands back up, just starts wailing on Basil with this spiked flaily mace thing. And Lash tries. Lash has one of them re-roll but it still re-rolls into a hit. So there are 3 hits, I believe, and Basil goes down. Bram is like, oh crap, and he is able to strike the cultist on his next turn. Yeah, okay, so it was a hit. The third one was a crit, which Flash forced a reroll of, and it still rerolled into a hit, but it wasn't a crit. So yes, that was the sequence there. So Bram strikes out at this cultist and manages to hit him. And Bram has a fun new feat where if he hits a melee attack to a creature within 5 feet of him, he can then immediately slam his shield into them. And if they don't make a saving throw, then they can either be pushed away or knocked prone. So this cultist failed the strength save, so Bram knocks him down prone, and then nudges his hoof over into Basil so that he can use Lay on Hoof to at least get Basil conscious again and restore some HP. So Basil wakes up, prone on the ground, right next to this cultist who is also prone on the ground, kind of staring at each other eye to eye. And Basil notices as he's kind of staring this cultist in the eye, because while he was wailing on Basil, the cultist's mask had kind of slipped a little bit. And sort of revealed half of his face, revealing that he was a blue dragonborn. But Basil's able to look into his eye, and Basil notices that there's like lightning sparking in his eye, but there's no life there. Like, there's no thought going on. There's no there's no personality or life anymore. There's just that spark of lightning. So that's an interesting thing. And the cultists had definitely been talking when we came into the room. They were like, hey, you know, what are you doing here? How dare you interrupt our ritual, kind of thing. So the assumption is that when that cultist hit the altar, they did die and then got reanimated by the lightning. And there's nothing left now except the lightning in them. So Basil at least wakes up. Timjar is able to run over and like slam a potion into their mouth to at least get them a little bit more HP back again. Basil is able to stand up and immediately takes their revenge on the cultist by then killing him again. And this time he stays dead. So we're like, okay, great. Wonderful. Excellent. 2 more cultists. 2 more cultists down. 2 more masks that people can put on for lightning resistance if they want. Seems like that might be a useful thing at some point. Yeah. And Flint has a little bit of a moment where she's like, oh my god, where'd that little gnome go? Because Timjar was able to stay invisible throughout the entire combat. So Glint kind of, as we're looking around post-combat, Glint's kind of like, oh no, where'd that little gnome go? Did he get stuck outside? And Mint, I'll remind you, has blind sight. So Mint is able to see even invisible creatures. And Mint is kind of like, mommy, he's right there. And Glint's like, oh, okay then. And tries to reach out and pat Timjar on the head. But Timjar is still invisible and dodges. So there's a comical moment of, like, Glint trying to pat the air and Timjar dodging and Mint being like, no, mommy, a little to the left. No, further to the right. No, you almost had him. Back to the left. Because this is how our party spends their time. But yeah, so we ended basically there. Um, we have taken out 2 cultists. We are still at the base of the Tower of Storms. So far, we haven't heard any crashing around or anything upstairs. No sign that the dragon has noticed us. Although, no sign that the dragon is here at the moment. So, put a pin in that. That's TBD. But yeah. Lash and Phalar and Basil are all fairly hurt. However, Bram and Glint and Timjar and Arendiau are all still at full HP because I don't think any of them got hit at all. So that's fun. But yeah. So that was our session. It was a lot of fun. It was great to have you, Barris. And apparently we need to either remember the previous party name we had or come up with a new one, because I guess clearly the previous one, whatever we came up with, was not memorable enough. And also, half the party has changed since then anyway, so we might as well come up with a new one. Because that probably, if we were level 3, if we were signing a document, would that have been... I'm trying to remember when that was, but we probably would have had... That would have been Light and Narthian, and possibly not Phalar. That might have been before Phalar joined us. Definitely before Basil joined us. Because that would have been Landon instead. We are currently level 8. So yes, that was quite a while ago. So yeah, we might as well come up with a new party name anyway, because half of our party composition has changed. Since whenever that was. At least half. So yeah, if anybody has any ideas. Yeah, quarter of a lifetime ago by level 20 standards. True. The Inconceivables? No. I kept trying to think of, like, something with mint. Because, like, the fact that we have a friendly slime. From an outsider's perspective, the fact that we have a friendly slime that just hangs out on the Tabaxi's shoulder is probably, like, one of the more memorable things about our party. Like, if there's innkeepers gossiping to each other, they'd be like, oh yeah, that one party that has the Tabaxi with the slime. But I can't come up with anything that's not, like, ridiculous. Off to study. Excellent. Enjoy your homeworks. Thank you for stopping by. And like I said, happy to have you in D&D. I look forward to future shenanigans. Two Tabaxis walking. We've done that already. It didn't go well. Two drow get shit done. Maybe? All tanks, no waiting. For a while, I think everybody had a healing spell, but I don't think that's actually the case anymore. Two cats and a slime. I don't know. How do other D&D parties come up with their names? Ooh, but again, that's not true anymore, Kite. We have 2 rogues now. Party of too many dragons. That's too many dragons. Put some back. Are rogues known for int? I mean, they're not known for not int. They're better than Bram and Glint. Okay, you get this knotted. But yeah, we can think on it, but we probably should come up with a party name. For this new and improved Party 2.0. Or whatever. Oh god. You know, I don't hate that one. I don't know how we would come up with it in universe. Like, what would our in-universe explanation for it be? But I actually don't hate that one. Or like, I don't know, the minty... The minty dragon slayers or something. I don't know. Okay. I'm going to take my quick break, and then when I come back, we'll do some board games, because I did see that BGA Redemption. So everybody get up, move around, stretch, grab refills on your drinks, go to the bathroom, all those fun things. So I will be back in a few minutes. All right, hello. I want that one. Hello, BGA. That one. There we go. Alright, I know I have more boards than this. That's better. Alright. Let's do that. So I do now own a physical copy of Azul Duel. I will have to teach Kara how to play. Yes, Azul. Azul. Ah, that's better. Azul. Yeah, I'll take that, Bright. Thank you very much. Next. BGA is here, so time to go figure out food. That's fair. Duck noises suddenly real loud. Don't know why. Alright. Let's do that. Ooh. That. Very much. Excellent. 12-point hand for Kate. 10-point hand for me. Not bad. And 2-point crib. Okay, 2 cards to Kitte's crib. Yeah. Excellent, I'll take that. Aha, wizard. Okay, I need to not take any more tricks in this game, so let's play that. Oh, excellent. Perfect. Perfect. Love it. Okay. My prediction. 1, 2, 3, at least 5. Probably 6. Let's go with 6. Ah, yes, Alhambra. Are you still having trouble, Kuma? Oh, hey, you did it! Good job! At one point earlier this game, Kuma had like 6 buildings just kind of chilling. Okay. I guess let's grab that. You sure do. I'm not sure I'd want to live there. That's a sprawling metropolis that you've got there. But it may just win you the game, so... Okay. New. Yeah, let's discard that.
Alright, that works. That works fine. Ooh, okay. Brand new hand of rummy. I don't need that 5. So let's draw a card. Ooh, interesting. Discard that 2. Right. Okay. Don't need any 2s. So let's try to go for 6s. Oof. Okay, rude. Now... guess let's try 6s again. Okay, better. Sure. Alright. So, here, I could use yellow, I could use red. I can draw more. You know what? Let's just grab these. Right. The one where I'm not making my last route, so I'm just kind of trying to grab points where I can. I'm not winning this game. Alright. Move 7. Cool down. Adrenaline. Flip a card. Hey. Love that. Perfect. Okay. Oh good, I do still have heat in my engine. I'm not completely screwed. Let's do that. Okay. That's better. Okay. So, 1 cream or 4 blue. Actually, this would be helpful. Grab that. Perfect. Oh, that game. The one where Kuma could still spin out and still win. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Super Mega Lucky Box. I should put this there. Oh, right. I kind of understand how this game works. I just haven't been getting good luck with actually drawing things. Let's do that. Okay. Need 1 dark blue. Need 1 red for sure. Let's go ahead and grab that one. Okay. I think I'm good to make a painting. Yes. Complete painting. Alright. I think I want it. I want it this, that, That's one red, one blue. If I... Okay, so that bit doesn't matter. Do that. It's not the best painting, but it'll do. Background. Ooh, kind of like the blank one, actually. Yeah. Behold truth. All right. Yeah, this one. Sure. Okay. So I need 3 to get around the corner. Let's do that. Okay. Sure, I'll take that. Okay. I guess let's take this one. Sure, I'll take that. Alright, there we go. Caught up. That was fast. I want to go back to this. Perfect. Alright. Alright, there we go. Return to my chair. Alright, now back to here. Ah, we can button that one here in a second. That's exciting. Drink some. But yes, reminder to anyone that should be eating something. Go find a food. I think the couple of you that I have to usually call out are indeed the ones finding food, but a reminder to anyone else.
Hang on, I've got it. I've got it. Given our out-of-character predilection for board games, and Glint's propensity to collect shiny things, we are the Buttons League. For legal reasons, that was a joke. To be honest, Bram feels a little bit weird about having a party name because he doesn't feel like they've done anything yet that would deserve one. I mean, I guess we've taken care of the red band. But like... and the Cult of Talos, sort of? We've just kind of been bouncing from thing to thing in Bram's point of view. Yeah, but like not... in Bram's mind, like, not anything that would be deserving of, like, I don't know. Having a party name feels arrogant to Bram. Not saying that it is, just that that's how it feels to him. He's like, but we haven't done what we set out to do. So therefore, why should we have some grandiose name? Yes, it's a practicality so that people know how to refer to us. But to Bram it feels like, oh, but if you have some name to refer to us, then it feels like a little bit having the trappings of being famous, and Bram doesn't think that they've done anything to deserve that yet. Even though objectively they have. Like, taking care of the Talos Boar was a thing. We saved Nomengard from mimics, which was a thing. Like, we've done stuff. We rescued an entire fortress of goblins and now they work for us. But Bram's like, we set out to slay a dragon. We have not yet slayed a dragon. We just keep finding more dragons instead. I don't know. I have a couple ideas. I'll toss them in chat later and see what the rest of the party thinks. In, like, our party chat, I mean. Yeah, exactly. It is like a business name. You use it to get clients and so that people know how to refer to you. Like I said, I'm just saying that's how Bram feels about it, though. The Dragon Summoners? Oh, please no. Names also have power. Let's not put that kind of power out into the world.
almost 1 o'clock. Reminder that if you haven't eaten something yet, you should probably go eat something. You are in a time zone where that is appropriate. Also, take your meds if you need to take your meds. Also, Kara, you have tea. Nope, it's non-negotiable, Randus. Food and meds. If those are things you need, you are hereby ordered to go get them. If you're watching my stream, I make the rules, and I say you have to take care of yourselves. All of you. That goes for you too, people watching the VODs on YouTube months from now. Go get food and take your meds. Alright, so that is all of last week's. Now I need to do this week's. I fell behind since I indulged myself and played Stardew Valley last week. So. won't quite get them all joined in, but I'll be able to mix them all. Poor little kitty. Ooh, Sasha.
No, I heard her out in the hallway. Her her bowl of kibble is actually right outside the door to this room. And I heard her kind of crunching kibble. But I think the door is not latched, but it is mostly closed. And typically she's too dumb to push doors open. I don't know why. I know. I mean, sometimes if I call out to her, she will push the door open. But usually no. I don't know what her aversion is. Or if it's just that she's literally too dumb to realize she can push the door. Oh. I have a needle. Okay.
Wiggling.
Here. Hi, baby. Yeah. Hey. I'm here. Yeah. Soaring Public has missed you. Been a while. Baby. Been a while. Oh, this is the pin. You don't want this. Nap on my lap while I stream. Oh yeah, the Jason Chandra alpha skins. Uh-huh. It's probably too late, Randus. I will point out. Oh, there's a Moogle minion? Oh no, I hadn't seen that one yet. Am I just a tissue? Settle down and turn upside down. Clothing is fine too. Very warm. Might be some lens. I'll buff that off. Open yawn. The downside of the noise gate, you cannot hear her purring. But she is purring. I will point out, Kara, that the Moogle pet does nothing for you if you're not planning to keep playing Arena after Final Fantasy is done. Hi. I love you. Because if the Final Fantasy set holds true to the Arena pattern that the Lord of the Rings set had, which it probably will, the cards will be on Arena forever, but the ability to like draft it and do sealed and stuff will only be around as long as the mastery pass is around. And then most of the time they'll like cycle old formats back in, but I haven't seen Lord of the Rings cycle back into Arena. So that one might be fully retired. And they may do similar with Final Fantasy. Once you're in, you're probably going to keep playing. That's fair. We had the briefest of baby times, but it was lovely while it lasted.
personally, I think the Jason Chandra Chocobo are adorable. I am excited for those. You've yet to see them. They're cute. So they're alpha. They're the cartoony Chocobo's Dungeon alpha Chocobos. But they're dressed up as Jason Chandra, and they're actually really cute. Right? Yeah, they're really cute. My go-to pet for most of the time I've been on Arena has been the little robotic raccoon thing, but I might have to switch to a Choco. At least for a while. I want to get one of the holographic, like Kamigawa goldfish or koi fish. I haven't gotten one of them yet. Keep waiting for them to cycle back into the store. But I have the little robotic raccoon, and he's precious. they're probably gonna give us avatars for at least the 16 protagonists, aren't they? I really need to get back on Arena and start playing to try to build up my gold. Just so that I have some kind of a war chest for when Final Fantasy actually drops. Yeah, I saw that Clive and Noctis are both getting sleeves, but I'm wondering if they'll do, like... Because for Lord of the Rings, they actually had a ton of avatars that were available. And I'm wondering, they almost have to do at least the 16 protagonists, if not more. It's like they've got all the art assets. They might as well. I'm just thinking, because, like, with the Lord of the Rings set, they had avatars, yeah, for the Fellowship, but then they also did, like, Eowyn and, the Uruk-hai guy and Saruman, and, like, they had a ton of avatars available. Granted, some of them were Mastery Pass, which is probably what they'll do this time, too. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they go with. They have been doing sleeves instead of avatars in the Mastery Pass. Oh, okay. I haven't done the Mastery Pass in several sets. So, yeah, I was not aware they had changed that. Interesting. They've also gotten rid of the grid, so now you can just pick the ones you want. Oh right, they transitioned over to like a quote unquote like a store, but you use your mastery orbs. Yeah, I do remember that. They had that for Bloomborough too, which I think Bloomborough was the last time I actually did the pass. Honestly, don't recommend people get the Mastery Pass unless they know they want X or that they will 100% it and like cosmetics. Otherwise, it's not really worth the cost. Yeah, agreed. Which is why I haven't done it for the past, like, since Bloomborough. I also just fell off the wagon of I haven't played in a while. But yeah, I definitely back into it. I wanted to with Tarkir, but then it's just been a very busy couple of months. Oh yeah. No, they have looked like fantastic sets. It's just I've been very busy. And I just actually haven't had the time to log into Arena and play games. Yeah, the life happens problem. How dare I not have unlimited time to just sit around and play Magic the Gathering? Very rude of life to do that to me. Interesting.
Shuffling.
over here. Good morning, Anime Kitty. Hello. Am I still playing catch up? Sort of. So I finished last week's. These are now all this week's. So I do need to get these joined in, which I won't get to before the end of stream. I may do that over the course of the week, but then I'll be caught up, yes. Bit of thread chicken is eat. celebration set? I don't know. Unless the ducks did something impressive. The disco duck might actually make noise. I'm not actually sure. I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish up stream here. We're a few minutes early, but that's okay. I'm actually quite hungry. I'm gonna go get leftover pizza. But yeah, thank you all for coming and hanging out. Listening to me ramble about D&D. I've been thinking about it. I do actually have some ideas for party names, so I will solicit party opinions. Brandis has redeemed a stretch and a hydrate. Excellent. We have not finished stream yet, so that is still a thing. So everybody needs to hydrate and stretch. And eat a thing, Brandis says. So yes, I am doing stretches. And I will hydrate here momentarily. Excellent. Okay, hydration. And tie off my thread. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good rest of their Sunday, a good weekend. If you are in Canada, happy Victoria Day. Enjoy your day off tomorrow. I know I will be. But otherwise, I hope everybody has a great week. At the latest, I'll be back next Sunday. I'm hoping to do a Pokemon stream in between now and then, but we'll kind of see how it goes. And reminder for anyone that might not be aware, the team behind Desert Bus for Hope, which usually takes place in November, is going to be doing a mini fundraiser this coming Friday and Saturday. They're calling it Desert Bus Express, and proceeds will be benefiting the BC, that is British Columbia Cancer Foundation. So go check it out over at desertbus.org. Donations are live now. You can get all of the details about when and where the actual stream will be happening. They're capping it at 24 hours, so it is just next Friday and Saturday. It's a little mini event. But it should be a good time, so I'm definitely going to be watching that. But yeah, until then, I hope everybody has a great day. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And I guess Kara's always happy when I say it, so to quote Guildmaster Wigglytuff, miles go for miles. So I'll see all you guys in the future.